Hello and good morning. On the healing bench today, we're carrying on with this big connecting rod. This connecting rod's off our restoration project. We're currently restoring Little Lauren, an 8 nominal horsepower expansion engine 2959, and we left off last week sorting out and making our new bearings. We've just finished up making our new bronze bearings, and in the process we figured out this connecting rod might be a little bit bent. So today we're going to be getting this straightened out. We're going to get this set up in some sort of jig, get this straightened out, get it straight as an arrow so it's ready to go back on the engine. So let's get to it. Right, so first thing we need to do, we get this bearing removed. So we get this knocked out. Get the strap off. And we're getting let down on this table and get some, give us an idea of how she's looking. Now, I'm not so worried about it being bent in that plane. So if you imagine it being bent like a banana that way, not too worried about that. What I am worried about is it being bent in this direction, which will make our centre line of our little end bearing and the centre line of the big end bearing different, and we've just spent a hell of a lot of time and many months getting that all so it should be in line. So we're primarily going to be working on this face and this face and trying to take the kink out. I think it's bent around this area from our previous quick look at it, so we want to get this straightened out. So the best way to figure this out is got this old surface plate here, marking out bench, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to use that to figure out how much bend is in this rod. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to measure this end. And we're going to work out what the difference is and half it, and that should in turn give us the thickness of the material we need to add under this end so that when it lies on the table it should be flat. So just going to put the calipers this end, zero it, measurement don't matter, and then bring the calipers down this end and we're showing 21.8. So we've got 21.8 mil difference between that end and that end on the width. So for ease of that, we'll just say that's 22. So round that up, 22 even number. So that means half of 22 is 11. So we should have 11 mil added to this when it's let down, and it should be perfectly flat and true along the distance of the table. So we just so happen to have a stack of shims. So almost 11 mil. So in theory, if my thinking's correct, if we put that stack there and lie that down on the table, so with that stack height, this end at 11 mil, this end here should be flat on the table, where as you can see that's about flat there, so it's not correct. And if we turn it over the other way, everything being equal, that should also lie flat. I'm not sure if you can see, but there's a a gap in down this end. So with it led down on the bench that side, you can get quite a thick feeler gauge under the front of that, which tells me it's not lying flat on the table. This side's even worse, it goes right under. I do believe all we've got to do is figure out where we reckon this is bent, apply a little bit of pressure with a jack, and get this to lie down flat on the table. So this is the way we're going to be wanting to bend it. We're going to be wanting to push on this side to get this end down, and that should straighten our rod back out so that when we flip it over, you get away from that rock. So providing this table is pretty flat, which I would have said it is, being an old surface table, you can see right there is where it wants to be. So half of that distance is what we need to take out of it for bow. So if I find out what that is, it's not a lot, but it's going to make a difference. So that's about, so we got, say, 2.5 mil or 2 mil, so it's only a 1 mil. One and a bit mil bending it, which to be honest isn't a lot. But I think we can get that better, so while it's off the engine we may as well see if we can't get that straighter. So we can also do the same test the other way. So we zero our calipers on that end, take a measurement here, half of that, 22.5, 22.5 stack up. So now we can transfer that onto his other edge. And that's a lot better. So that's telling me that that is a lot straighter in that plane. So it's looking like we're only going to have to do it one way, which is nice. Just got to get this slight kink out the end. So I believe, looking at it exaggerated, that we've got a bit of a bend there, and then this is all pretty much straight. Just looking at it by eye, it looks like the bend is around there. So what I think it might be a good thing to do is to set up some sort of a frame actually on this table that we can use as a bit of a straightening press. Something that we can use for future projects as well. I mean, we're going to do this, but we're going to want to do other things in the future, so we might as well get geared up. I don't really use this table for marking out or any of them purposes, so it can be somewhat sacrificed for a bit of a press. So what I'm thinking of doing is just make some sort of well, basically a frame sort of similar to that we can bolt onto this table, put a hydraulic jack in between this and the work, and then just use that as a press and straightening press, and we can use the table then to see how accurate we got it in the process. Right, so that should be enough for us to make some sort of frame out of anyway. I think the plan, bit of scrap heap challenge, absolute classic. I think they're bringing that back now. Proper job. Right, that's what I'm thinking. Glue that bit on there. Nice big thick bit of plate that had a hole in it. Glue that bit on there. Glue that bit. A lot of gluing going on. Glue that bit in there. Somewhere like that. Drill and tap the table. I think we got ourselves a press. We've got the big, this is a hollow ram, so it's not ideal really. You want a solid ram, you get more pressure out of it, but it's what I've got. And I reckon that'll push that rod. What is it? 30 ton? 30 ton ought to do it, just for a tweak. It's probably all a bit overkill, but like I said, I can use this again later on for other jobs, other projects. I will always have it in the arsenal. So let's get it glued together. Let's fire up the glue gun. So that's looking like cast. We might not be able to use that piece. As nice as it is, that would have been ideal. If you have a look when we grind it, compared to the steel. So you can see the difference in the sparks. That's not going to weld very well, so we're going to put that to one side. Looks like a big parallel. It would be nice to machine that, grind it, turn that into a nice big parallel. That's what I'll do with that. Right, so I'm going to swap that piece out with some 20mm thick plate. As long as I weld this better than I welded that dolly to move that boiler, we should hold plenty of tonnage. So the plan now then would be to glue that on the side. Probably have to glue it up a bit, somewhere like that I reckon. Give us enough room for the jack. So let's get the welding. There we go. But a couple of minutes, we got ourselves a press frame and a portable one. So we can set that up on this table. We can set this up out there. We can tack weld it to an excavator and push a pin out. It's going to come in handy. So. I don't mind making it just for this job. So now the easiest thing to do would be just to weld it to this table now, bring the rod in and do it here. But I want to do it on a nice flat surface. We're going to drill and tap that table out there, or maybe just through drill it. I'll let that cool down and carry it outside. Right, so luckily this table's already got two holes that are perfectly lined up with our... We didn't have to butcher the table, because that would upset a couple of people. So now we can get this bolted up. Not fixture. Go on then, Ian. Ian's turned up now. A bit of moral support, I think, more than anything.
Not gonna work.
Can't get on the bottom?
No.
Grab hold of it.
Yeah. Go on.
There we go. That all worked, mate.
Do something.
Right, that's going to be pretty solid. I don't think that's going anywhere. Problem working on a table is it gets covered in shite, doesn't it? Tools everywhere.
Yeah.
So we reckon. No cowboy hat today?
Not today.
If we get that, which side was it? It's bent that one there, right? In there like
if you want it
that.
to become a proper feature, I will get it out for you. You know,
Oh, you mean it's health and safety first,
bring
isn't
it
it?
hard at, you know.
Health and safety first. Let's get some of these bits of swarf off. Don't know where they come from. So that's going to go in there. We're going to be doing this cold. I think that'd be fine for what it is. Need to get a nice V block to go on the ram, I think. Right, so I reckon if we put that V block on there, bit of bronze, then we'll stick our jack in the hole. That's going to have to go the other way. Somewhere like that. What's that, mate?
I don't know.
It's found on the floor, haven't it? Just come with a table when they drilled them holes. You'll have to be a heathen do something like that. I'd be unsubscribing myself personally if I seen that.
It definitely looks like a slug out of a rotor brooch.
Yeah.
Feels like cast iron.
Can't possibly be. Look at that, look. It's almost like it's made to measure. I mean, to make sure we're bending the right side of this now. And how are we going to measure? Or are we not measuring? We just go in. Right, so we're using the height gauge as basically a visual reference of how much it's bending. And what we're trying to achieve is to get this end of the rod to lie flat on the table. As you can see there, it's got a bow in it, so we want that lead down flat. So we get Ian to do some pumping. Should see that just start going down. Go on, we've gone 5 mil.
It's starting to build quite a bit.
Feel a bit of pressure on there now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a bit there now.
You can see there that the light gauge has got a bit of a gap. If you let her off, we'll see if she comes back up to where she was. Might just spring all the way back up. So the test is going to be whether this still slips under, and you can see there it's picking up now. You feel that this is a very thin feeder. It's just, you just get a feel for it. That's pretty flat on there now. So I'm going to take the jack out, flip it over and just check it. Right, so we just whip this out here. What we want to see at a poker.
Yeah.
Touch more by the looks of it. Just barely a touch more. We've gone half. We just want to do another. that's...
Hang on.
Yeah, so we want to go another touch.
Touch.
Didn't take a lot, did it?
Alright.
Yeah. Bring our gauge back across. So if we go back to... I'll just go down on top. Give us a reference. So that is touching. Give her some pumps. Right, that's about the same as we bent it last time, so. No, that just comes straight back, so we'll go a little bit more.
Right there.
I'm going to try it. And when I go too far and have to do it back, nah, it's still just straight at me. One more pump than that. One more. One and a half. Good luck. Yeah, that's gone. You see a visual gap there now. Let's take that back out and try it again. So, I'll go under there. That's it, mate. It's now sitting flat on that table. So now you can see it's touching at the front and touching at the back. Obviously it goes through in places, that's because this just ain't flat. If we flip it over, same stack. Touch in, touch in. So I'm going to call that good. That's ready to go back on the engine now. Table right there for the big one.
That's the one we've got here then.
Yeah, the little one might not be in there.
I'll remove the evidence of building stuff up with bells and
What?
Yeah, well, I had to adjust that.
He was reading the Pokemon.
yeah, he wasn't reading it. He might have been looking at the pictures, but he wouldn't have been reading it.
Like, got to collect them all. Right, where's the oil can? Start with a bit of oil, didn't we? A little bit of lubricity. Start with a bit of lubricity. So that should fit on there. Should be able to. Yeah, that one. Oh, it's a bit awkward. Oh, there you go. On there. And then I'll put a bit of rag in the hole where it's going so you can rest it down, because that's gonna, you ain't gonna want to hold it up. And I'm gonna jump up here, I reckon. And what we got to do is if I have it roll the crank back. Can you roll the, go round on the flywheel and roll the crank back? Do you know which way it goes? Yeah, that way.
Like that way.
Get that back, give us enough room. Alright, well, so if you feed your end in through this hole here, I'm going to have to go up and in. Do I need to come down a bit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So if we come back to me, right, got the keys there.
Yeah.
It's bloody warm this is, being out in that sun.
Yeah, they're warm as well.
So that one. Right there. Like locked.
It's lucky this thing's designed to be warm, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a. It would all change, wouldn't it? Otherwise. So. I'm done.
Got it right, that's it. That old chestnut.
There have the set screw, I suppose, if we can. That ends all on. Worn all funky shapes. But I suppose that bearing shell might be worn into the run into the pin.
What's he done with it?
I'll just turn this I can get this crank turned over when you get your finger in there. Snip them off. I've got a bit of mechanical advantage over you here.
Well, somewhere in a motion, my cramp got his finger caught in there and it was bent like that all the time.
What, the motion or his finger?
His finger was like that all the time.
Got a perfect imprint of gears.
My dad was going to show me on the engine one day where he'd done it, but I got round to it. Well, he stuck his finger in, no, I wouldn't do it myself.
Fan belt.
That's a bit better.
Yeah, be alright with it. Right, now I reckon if I was to hold the connecting rod up, I crank the crank back to you, you should. As long as I'm nice in the. There we go. I don't think she's in the bearings very well, but you might be able to
You got
sort
the
with
pins
that.
there. You say it was a lot, but it was...
Right, ready? Coming in for landing. Fingers. Ah, looks the same. The wedges is fitting better now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's looking more like it. Might have to go a bit looser than that lay on the.
Oh, now he says.
Although, to be fair. Yeah, just knock a little bit of tension out of that. And then well, you can put set screw in later on. So I want to be able to feel what this back bearing's doing. Which all seems quite alright actually at the minute. Anyway, well done. So here we have it. Right, so I've been fussing with this now for a little bit, and it's looking like we got her spot on. We got her all lined up. It's been a long old process. I think we've been at it. Took the cylinder off probably it's got to be a year ago at least, just to get all this to line up. And it looks like, fingers crossed, we finally cracked it. So I've had to do a bit of fussing with this bracket, the wave shaft bracket. This has had to been just moved over slightly. Now we got it all back together. We've got something we can work off for lining it up. We know that this cylinder is dead in line with that crank. We know that this rod's dead straight and everything is in line. So we can go off of that. And we've got our bracket here now set. And it's looking perfect. So I am chuffed to bits with that. That was a lot of work. We've still got some tweaking and things to do. We've got some eccentric rods that need bending back now that we've got it all in line. All this motion was tweaked and bent and twisted to make it run when the cylinder wasn't in line. So we've got to put it all back now. But luckily, I've chucked a couple of the eccentric straps on, and the ones that I have straightened back out in a previous episode are lining up. The ones that we didn't straighten out are off still. So that goes to show that we might have got her bang on, and everything should be straight now. So I'm going to leave this one here. I suppose in a future video we're going to go through getting all this all lined back up. So we've got some straightening in different bits to do, but we are on the right track. So I'm chuffed to bits with this. So as always, thanks for all the likes, shares, comments, and everyone that subscribes, and thanks to everyone that's made a donation to the channel. It helps out future content, and it's all much appreciated. So I'll see you on the next one, guys. Cheers.